You're listening to Thunder and Lightning on SuperTalk Mississippi, covering Mississippi State sports like nobody else. With Sports Talk Mississippi's Brian Hadad and Robbie Faulk of On3 Sports. Now get ready for Thunder and Lightning.
Thunder and Lightning here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Brian Hadad and Robbie Faulk here with you on a Friday morning. Thanks for joining us here at supertalk.fm or wherever it is that you get podcasts from. We appreciate you guys out there, our great listeners, especially our servicemen and women out there taking care of us. Want to thank our sponsors over at Strange Brew Coffee House and Churn and Spoon Ice Cream. Start your day the right way with a trip to the drive-thru over at Strange Brew Coffee House here in Starkville or at Brupolo over in Tupelo. Be a little weird, Robbie, if Brupolo was an Oliver Freed.
It would be a little weird. Sounds like a book from the 1920s.
It does. It does. We cannot get out of the Delta. I'm just picking these randomly, but we're in Quitman County today. So
there's just so many little spots.
In the Delta. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Speaking of little spots in the Delta, real quick, but I saw that the Catfish Cabin has reopened in Boyle.
Yes,
that was good news. I'm glad to see that.
I saw our friends, Pam and Brent,
Superior were there.
We're there for the grand reopening. We're gonna have to go back.
We will.
I enjoyed it.
You see this? My arm just keep twisting it back here. Wherever you are in our great state, you can enjoy Strange Brew Coffee each and every morning. It's just a click away at strangebrewcoffeehouse.com. The Mississippi Beef Council wants to remind you that beef, it is what's for dinner. If you're cooking out this weekend, nothing beats the sizzle of beef on the grill. We are in the prime part of the year for grilling. This is grilling season at its finest. Nobody has ever showed up at your cookout and been disappointed when you told them that steak was on the menu. Make beef the star of the show this weekend. Beef, it's what's for dinner. Thanks to our friends at the Mississippi Beef Council. College Corner, collegecornerstore.com is the place to find the maroon and white merchandise that you're looking for, and you are looking for it. You've got a dad. He needs new gear. Get him something cool at College Corner. The logos that you want. Just me talking to you. Maybe something with the M over S on it. Maybe that's a good idea right this very second. To go get
Wear it proudly.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So throwing that out there to you. 2 locations in the Jackson area. Ridgeland by Fleet Feet, Floyd by the Half Shell. Or you can shop online at collegecornerstore.com. Restaurant Tyler, Starkville's flagship restaurant for lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch. The best meal in town is always at Restaurant Tyler. If you're going to be taking somebody out to dinner, you want to have a really nice, fancy dinner, the place to do it in Starkville is always Restaurant Tyler. The best steaks in town, great pasta, chicken, vegetarian options, appetizers, and for dessert, the stuffed pancake is the finest end to any meal in the city of Starkville. You don't need a special occasion to eat at Restaurant Tyler. That is the special occasion. Restaurant Tyler, that's the best dinner in town each and every time. Priority One Bank, 16 locations to serve you throughout central Mississippi. Let PriorityOneBank.com be your guide and show you not only where they're located, but they're going to show you how they're going to help you invest and manage your money and prepare for the future. Now more than ever, when you have questions about your money, you need answers, you need them on your schedule, you need a bank that provides a level of service you're only going to get at Priority One Bank. You need a bank that knows you as well as it knows your money. Let Priority One Bank make you their priority. Holy crap, there's a lot going on today.
I can't even get my bearings. I'm in the visiting radio booth here.
So Robbie is live at Dick Howser Stadium in Tallahassee, joining us. Where Neil Price and I assume Jay Powell and Ron Polk will be calling the games this weekend.
I'm live from the Dick Howser Stadium.
The Big D.
What I always thought was interesting about this place
You're in the Dick Howser Stadium press box.
I was just talking to Reed Stallman about this.
Yeah.
Because he is very right field centric. He plays right field. He hits the ball to right field.
Yes, he does.
And I was just asking him about this. So they have like short walls out there in the outfield. Yeah. And then they have the chain link fence that goes from right center all the way to the foul pole. Mm-hmm. And it's just very strange. I haven't seen that anywhere else, I don't think. Mm-hmm. But I remember specifically Jake Mangum hitting a ball over that. And then they have this like circus tent, which I never understood. Is that like a place where the fans go before the game? I don't know. But that was hit a couple of times in 2018 as well. And then the giant scoreboard was smashed by Elijah McNamee, as we remember. But a lot of home runs fly out here.
Speaking of Elijah McNamee, if you look down the podcast feed, our, I think it's me and Joel, an interview we did from back in 2020 with Elijah talking about this regional and the 2018 postseason. So check that out. That's definitely a fun listen. So this is what this show is today. All right. First off, we know what's being reported. We've been telling you about it the past couple days here on Thunder and Lightning. Robbie's been telling you about it in his updates. He and I never wavered from the fact that Brian O'Connor was the number one candidate for Zach Selman, and he was going to do everything he could. And now it appears like the hay is in the barn and that the finish line is not only within sight, but within reach at this moment. But there's nothing official to add onto that, right? We've said basically all we can say. But that being said, I would imagine that if Mississippi State is eliminated this weekend, by the early part of next week, we're doing a Brian O'Connor is the new head coach at Mississippi State. I think you feel confident in saying that?
As of 12:39, I feel 99% that Brian O'Connor is going to be Mississippi State's next head coach. I felt probably 80% yesterday. I felt really good about it yesterday, but
now you've jumped
you're
up.
always cautious about it. Yesterday morning, something happened on Tuesday that really shifted this whole thing. I think State was in conversations with them, but something turned this thing completely into Mississippi State's favor. I never felt like it was completely done that Brian O'Connor was staying at Virginia, but I felt like it was kind of leaning that way. Something happened, and Zach Selman sealed this thing up.
Yeah.
And I was told on Wednesday night the offer was on the table. Brian O'Connor was expected to sign it, but you're still very cautious until something happens. I feel confident at this stage to say Brian O'Connor is going to be Mississippi State's next head coach.
All right.
And I feel equally confident that Corey Muscara is going to be Mississippi State's pitching coach. And a month ago,
that would have seemed silly.
Had you told me these two things, I would have said that you were an internal optimist and you're just not being realistic. But we'll go deeper into it when it's finalized. But I think what you've seen here is a total commitment from Zach Selman to supporting baseball here and bringing Mississippi State a product that they can be proud of.
So I said this the other day, but I'll say it again. If we go back a month and you told me, hey, State hires Corey Muscara as head coach, I would have been like, okay, I can get.
I think a lot of people have been happy with that.
Instead, he might be just coming here and making, what Dan Mullen would call a lateral move. Pretty impressive. But that's just one of the things, all right? We got to talk about this regional. We haven't done that yet. Later in the show, I sat down today for about 20 minutes with Mississippi State quarterback Blake Shapen. Got a one-on-one with him. I think it's really good. Looking forward to bringing you that interview. I also had a interview that was on Thunder and Lightning Live last night, but I want to bring it here to the podcast with the national champion MSU esports team. So we can just have a little fun on the day where the new trailer for NCAA 26 has dropped. We'll talk some video games as well. Loaded show. But I listened.
Well, actually, I was sitting in the room when he did the interview, but I didn't hear their side of things. So I listened to it this morning.
They were like, when he said there was this author, Tom Clancy, I nearly died. It's like, I get it.
Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
Did you play Splinter Cell?
Yeah, I played a little Splinter Cell back in the day.
I used to get so angry. If you flinched and made a sound, you were done. You're like, you lost. It was like just annoying.
Gotta be quiet. So let's talk regional. You're down in Tallahassee. Mississippi State just wrapped up practice. You know what's kind of funny for me is how lost the regional has gotten this week with all the coaching news. We talked about betting odds yesterday on SuperTalk Mississippi. State has the best odds of any 3 seed in the tournament in terms of could win to win the regional. They're actually a slight favorite over Northeastern in terms of winning the regional. Northeastern surprisingly getting a lot of respect in terms of they could win this regional. Obviously, Florida State is the favorite. I guess the first question was when you talked to Parker. You have spoken to Parker?
No, I didn't get a chance to talk to him. They jetted to the bus. I got Joe Powell and Reed Stallman, which is fine because we did talk to Parker the other day and we got pretty much everything we needed from him then. But
who's in there?
I don't know.
Get out of here. Anyway,
I need a sign.
Yeah. Quiet, please. Thunder and lightning in progress.
Have some respect.
Do we have any clue? Do we have any idea, any inkling of who's going to start this game on Friday?
He hasn't tipped his hand, but I feel pretty good about it being Pico Khan.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think what they want to do is they want to go out there and make sure they win game one. Mm-hmm. And while Pico has not been his best, he is your best. That is your ace pitcher. You've counted on him all year long. Hopefully this week and a half off will be really good for him and he'll be rejuvenated. But Northeastern is too good of a team to mess around. And when you're in the 2-3 game, you almost have to go with your best guy. That's been my thought process. I mean, I think when this field was initially announced and we talked about the other day, I think I said Evan Sierra should start just because I didn't really like the matchup as much with him against Florida State if State wins that Northeastern game. I felt like if he's pounding the zone, he's not walking batters, that was the better matchup. But I can't argue with the fact that you're going to probably put your best guy out there, and I think that's who it's going to be. That's totally a guess. I have not gotten anything from Mississippi State or from Justin Parker on that. I'm just guessing they're going to go with Pico to try to nail down game one because State's done this before, and they did it here, I think. Did they not? No, 17 they did it. They waited
18.
But I mean, like 17, they held Connor Pilkington for game two, and they had already lost.
No, they threw
17. Pilkington pitched against Illinois Chicago. Game one was maybe Cole Gordon against Oklahoma. I can't remember. Pilkington pitched the game.
That's 2018.
No, it was 2017.
That's in Hattiesburg.
That's what I'm saying. In 2017 in Hattiesburg, Connor Pilkington was saved for game two.
Okay.
In Hattiesburg.
But State lost game one.
Yes, they lost game one. Oklahoma was here, so I was wrong on that. But they did lose game one to South Alabama, I think. And Connor Pilkington was saved. So I think the best thing to do when it's a 2-3 matchup is just go throw your best guy because the other team across from you is usually either one of the teams could be the 2 or the 3. Mm-hmm. So go out there, try to win game one, and then set yourself up the rest of the way. And also, you have a better chance of digging deeper into a game with Pico than you do Evan Sierra. I know he pitched 8 innings against Ole Miss, but that was the outlier for him. He's a 4 to 5 inning guy usually, and you can't bank on him pitching 7-8 innings.
That's
and Pico has been lately a 5-inning guy.
Yeah, but he has gotten 6-7 innings before. He can get you deeper.
And you don't want to dig into your bullpen in game one.
Mm-hmm. No, you definitely not when we're talking about a regional play, and you're talking about having to play 4 or 5 games in the course of 3 days. You said you talked to Stallman and Powell. What were their thoughts coming into this regional? Did you feel like that's a confident couple of guys?
Yeah, I think so. Powell especially, he's been here before, not here, but in this moment. And last year he was in a regional with Mississippi State. Reed Stallman, this is a little new to him, but at the same time, I think both of those guys have played enough baseball at this point. They feel confident coming into the game, and they feel like they have a good shot going out there in game one.
What about you? What do you think about Mississippi State's chances in this regional?
I feel good about tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, I think if you can win the Northeastern game, the next thing you point to is, it's a game-by-game deal. If you win this game and you get to game 2, can you get Jamie Arnold out of the game in like the 5th inning and start digging into their bullpen? Because Florida State's bullpen is susceptible a little bit. Jamie Arnold is, no question, their guy. And if you can get him out of the ball game early, very similar to what you did against Cade Anderson, then I think you got a shot. But the key is staying in that ball game in the middle innings and getting to the late innings with, the game close. Jamie Arnold's going to be tough. He's going to be really tough if you get to that point. But again, you cannot discount what Northeastern has done. What they've done to this point with the stolen bases and their pitching staff and their offense with the ability to get on base and create chaos. The defense has been really good. They have a 980 fielding percentage. This is a really well-rounded baseball team, and it's not going to be an easy game for Mississippi State. So get through this game and see what happens from there. But it's a game-by-game thing, like it is every regional.
Yeah.
And if you can get through those first two, I mean, like that's you're sitting pretty more often than not.
It's kind of funny when you think about it like that, because you and I talk about you want to coach to win the regional, right? But you're right in that you do have to take it game by game. I will say that I disagree with Parker on this one. That's just my opinion. I would throw Sierra out there and try to save Pico to possibly go against Florida State. I understand the risk involved, in that State. It did backfire, though. It almost backfired on them in 2017. I guess you can't say it backfired on them when they won the regional, but that's a Jacob hero story is what that is. So
Jacob Billingsley pitched the game of his life.
Yeah, and if you don't get that, but I mean, who's to say that Ryan McPherson or somebody like that couldn't do it again? I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Well, we've seen that. We've seen that before. After that, I thought J.P. France in that game against Oklahoma in the championship was humongous. You look at the Super Regional, and Jacob Billingsley did a good job in his start at Nashville, and Cole Gordon was very good. Denver McQuarrie gave you some good innings. Yeah, pitching is always key in these regionals. Like you have to have, especially getting the losers bracket, you have to have like otherworldly pitching performance from somebody to come out of that.
Somebody had to step up, especially somebody you weren't counting on. In this scenario, State has to count on Pico. They have to count.
And when you get if you get to like a decisive game, then it's game on. I mean, everybody's kind of in the same boat at that point. Right. But like to get out of a loser's bracket, you got to have it. And hopefully State doesn't have to worry about that. But, it seems like when they go on the road, that's what happens. 2007, when they came here, they went 3-0. And Justin Pygott threw 8 strong innings, shut down Florida State. That was kind of the key. But when they go on the road, it just seems like this team is constant. Like they lose that first game or they lose that second game, and they're battling back.
I've always heard a story. I don't know if it's true or not that because Ron Polk was always adamant about we keep the rotation the same. He famously didn't he pitched Paul Mahallam against Middle Tennessee State in a game that State won by double digits. Yep. And I've always heard that Tommy Raffo and Russ McNichol went to Polk like right before the game and were basically like, we will quit if you throw Justin Pygott in the first game. He has to pitch against Florida State, and he did. And of course, they win that game. I don't know if that's true or not. It's a great story, one way or the other. But you're correct. State has made kind of a living these last few times they've been on the road of extending these regionals and getting deep, and then finding an extraordinary pitching performance. They were on the cusp of doing it a season ago before they had that meltdown in the final inning. Where was that regional? Last year? Yeah, where was that?
Oh, it was at Charlottesville. Brian O'Connor was the head coach there. He won both of those games. Yeah,
Brian O'Connor. Yeah. Okay. We'll talk more about him another time, probably. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm sure he'll come up in conversation.
Well, let's move into the rest of the show. That's brought to you by our friends over at Two Brothers Smoked Meats in the heart of the Cotton District. You're about to hear from our friend Blake Shapen, and he says that's one of his favorite places to go. So thank you, QB1, for the endorsement, and you should be endorsing it. It's a fantastic place to go eat, as is the Older Brother, two of our favorite restaurants here in the Starkville area. If you're looking for a great meal, you don't have to look far. Just go to the Cotton District and get a meal at Two Brothers Smoked Meats or the Older Brother. Great products, great service. Every business likes to promise it to you. They deliver it to you at Advantage Business Systems. They've been doing it for 50 years.
50.
You know what I thought you might go with there? I thought you might take advantage of your surroundings. We get 50.
I should have.
Oh, well.
But I was having to charge my phone, so I had to take my headphones out. I had to get the speaker fixed.
The fact that you're able to do that without disrupting the broadcast, I give you kudos for that, my friend. All right.
And now I got my wife's calling me. It's a disaster.
What's happening here? Somebody get hold of this business. Speaking of business, if you need technology for your business, give Advantage Business Systems a call. They have all the copiers, printers, computers, everything you're looking for, great name brands, great prices, but they also deliver service after the sale. This is a copier. It's going to break at some point. You want to know that you call somebody, they come fix it the same day. That's Advantage Business Systems. That's what they're going to offer you. 601-362-9192 or visit them online, absms.com. Find out how Advantage Business Systems will help your business do business. Are you looking for Mississippi State gear like this really cool white polo with the state script on it? Well, guess where you can find it? Maroon & Co. They've got everything you're looking for, maroon and white, under one roof. If you haven't already checked out their incredible selection, and next time you're in Starkville, you need to do that, or you can just look online at maroonandco.com. And the good news is, at either place, I can save you some money. Robbie and I, we're givers. We're generous. We're going to give you 15% off your next purchase with our promo code Thunder15. That's available in-store or online at maroonandco.com. Father's Day coming up. Don't leave Dad hanging. Get him a great gift from Maroon & Co. The next time you're in Starkville, before you go to the game, make sure you go to Maroon & Co. The weekend is here, guys, so when you're not listening to baseball, you're going to be out in the yard mowing grass, fixing up the house, or maybe just cooking out. Everything you need for your weekend is at Scruggs Farm, Lawn, and Garden. Just a couple of days left on this John Deere Drive Green Springs sales event. If you want to get 0% financing on a Gator, a commercial mower, or a compact tractor, you need to act now. June 2nd is when this offer is over. Take advantage of it at Scruggs Farm, Lawn, and Garden at 3575 Tom Watson Drive in Saltillo, or you can shop online at scruggsfarm.com. Scruggs Farm, Lawn, and Garden. They have what you want for less. Less, not less. 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 But that's the opposite of more.
Less is more.
Less can be more in some instances. There's no question about that. So, all right. Earlier today, I was lucky enough to get a long sit down. A few weeks ago on Sports Talk Mississippi, we had Austin Simmons on with us, and gave us about 30 minutes or so of his time. And so, it was like 20, 25 minutes of his time. And long story short, when that happened, I reached out to Mississippi State. I was like, hey, I'm going to need Blake Shapen for that long too. And guess what? They came through for me. So I got to sit down a little earlier today and talk to Blake Shapen. As you know, all of our interviews here on Thunder and Lightning are brought to you by the good folks over at Allura Modern Wellness. I mentioned this on yesterday's show, but I was there last week for a cryotherapy session. Guys, if you're hurting in any way, shape, or form, Allura Modern Wellness has got a plan in place to get you feeling better. Hot or cold, if you need to stretch, if you need to relax, whatever it is, go talk to our friend Rich Lopez and tell him exactly what's bothering you, and he's going to put together a package for you. If it's just one thing, or if it's just you want to spend a whole day, taking care of yourself, if you don't feel right, head over to Allura Modern Wellness. They will get you feeling better. When you walk out, you will feel better at Allura Modern Wellness. Let's go now to my...
And, hold on. Uh-huh. And here's my phalanges.
That's a long phalange.
My poor little girl, she's got my fingers and toes.
Oh wow.
It is an excellent gift for your wife for birthdays, anniversaries, Mother's Day. I got Becky. I think it's a pick 5.
Yeah, they have that.
You get to pick 5 of the things that they have.
The services, yeah.
I'm jealous. I'm really jealous of Becky. I might actually steal that if she doesn't use it soon.
There you go.
I need to get in that sauna. I need to get in that cryotherapy.
That cryotherapy. I don't know what it is. About 3 minutes at minus 200 degrees, but I feel better when I walk out of there. So they give you a headset too, so you can listen to some music. So I'm just in there blasting Sleep Token while I'm just shivering to death. It's incredible.
Oh, you're a Sleep Token guy now?
I'm a Sleep Token guy now, I guess. So anyway, here's my interview with Mississippi State quarterback QB1 Blake Shapen. Glad to be joined by the quarterback at Mississippi State, QB1, Blake Shapen, joining us now on the podcast. And Blake, I'm going to start today's interview with the same question I started Coach Levy with a few weeks ago when I had him on, which is this. Coaches love to use the coach speak term, adversity. You learn a lot through adversity. You learn a lot about yourself through tough times. What did last season teach Blake Shapen about himself?
Yeah, I mean, it taught me a lot. I think that was the first year that I've, missed a total of 8 games. I mean, the most games I've missed is 4 games in a season. So, missing 8 games taught me a lot. Makes me realize how blessed I am to get to play the game of football for our team. I feel like learning a lot with Coach Levy being its first year and, going through a lot of ups and downs, really a lot of downs last year. Being able to bounce back forward is going to be huge for us this year.
Do you see a difference in the way Coach Levy runs things from year one to year two? He's learning as you are in his first year as a head coach. Does he seem like a different coach in any way this year?
I wouldn't say there's a big difference of how he's coaching, but I will say that we've cracked down on a lot of the details of just how we approach every workout, every practice, every lift. There's a lot more intentionality with everything that we do. You can tell that, especially in playing the SEC, you got to be able to be very intentional in every detail. And I feel like we've done a really good job of that in the offseason.
So you just dropped a word there, intentional. And I was going to save this for a little later, but I wanted to ask you about what is your favorite, what I'm going to call Lebyism? These are phrases I hear him use a lot, and intentional is definitely one. He says again a lot, like he'll start a sentence with it. Again, yeah. All right. We've got to find ways. That's one he throws in a lot. The people in the building, and then continue to get better. Of that group, what is your favorite Lebyism?
Man, he has like you said, he has a lot of them that he says. The people in the building, I think, is probably the one that stands out to me the most, just because he does use that term probably more than any other. And I feel like that goes hand in hand just with everything, really. I mean, the people in the building, the people that you bring in the building is everything. And the guys that you go to war with every Saturday is everything. And then the coaches too. So probably that term for sure.
And there's a variation of that term. The people in these 4 walls. That's the variation on that theme. So you bring up an interesting point there, though, because with the transfer portal now, the team you have last year is not the team you have this year anymore. And you think about a decade ago, you come in as a freshman and you're with those guys for 4 or 5 years, and you just don't have that anymore. As a player, have players kind of taken on the mindset of, look, the team is the team. Whoever is out here in maroon and white, that's our team this year, and we're going to build with those guys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you kind of have to take that on nowadays. Like you said, it's changed. College football has changed tremendously, especially from when I first got into college. So I feel like being able to take that, it's kind of, this is what it is. Like, you got to be able to take it. It's going to be a new team probably every year now. And so got to build relationships really fast with guys whenever they get here. And like I said, it kind of brings it back to being very intentional, not just on the field, but off the field with the relationships that you build with these guys.
So how do you build relationships in the offseason? You think about football, and so much of the relationships is I've been with those guys for so long, and I just know their actions. When you have a whole new receiver room that you're going to be throwing to, when you got new offensive linemen in front of you, how do you build that relationship?
Yeah, I think whenever you get here in January, I think it starts then, right when you step foot on campus, especially in the locker room. I feel like it starts in the locker room. Whenever you start to talk to new guys, be able to know where they come from, who they are, things like that, and kind of translate it into off the field stuff, whether it's going out to eat, hanging out at the house, different things like that. Like, that plays a huge part, especially for me, like you said, with the receivers, with the offensive line, being able to do things outside the building to be able to build that relationship.
If you're picking the restaurant here in Starkville, where are we going to eat?
I always say Two Brothers. I'd say Two Brothers, and I'd say Obie's too.
Those are good choices. Those are good choices. You're doing good there. You're doing good. So when I've talked to Coach Levy about you in the past, I mean, the guy lights up. It's almost like a dad talking about his son in some ways. From your perspective, is this the best player-coach relationship you've ever had?
Yeah, for sure. Especially with playing the quarterback position, I feel like me and him have been able to communicate a lot more than what I've been able to in the past, just with where I've been. But not only on the field, it's a good relationship, but off the field, I feel like I've been able to connect with him very well. I remember my first visit coming to Starkville, and I already knew like this was the place I wanted to be, just because of the relationship that we were able to build like very quick.
What's something about being a football player that the average fan has no idea about?
I think the schedule. I think the schedule is a huge thing. I don't think they fully understand how many hours that we spend in this building. Like, we've been in this building since 6:45 this morning. working out and stuff like that. And that's just in the summertime. Like, we're not in practice yet, but we're working out, doing meetings, walkthroughs, stuff like that. I think not many people outside of football fully understand the amount of hours that we put into this.
Mississippi State made that announcement like a week or two ago about the new indoor practice facility, and you have some people saying, well, is that what the best use of funds in the NIL era? And I was trying to tell people, like, y'all don't realize that that's their home. That practice facility really becomes like a second home for you guys.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, we literally, this is our home. Like, we're here in our house. And so I feel like the facility was a huge add-on for Mississippi State in the football program. And I feel like it was a huge deal just because, like you said, we spend so much time here.
So last year when I talked to you at Media Days, I gave you a scenario for a play call. And you told me the scenario was, we just got the ball. We want to take a shot at the end zone. What's the call? You said grenade right. I talked to Levy about that later, and he lit up. He was like, that's the right call. That was a great call. So yeah. I want to give you that. I didn't know if you knew that or not, but take us through a play call in terms of how deep does it go? You come to the line, you've got your play call, you see something you don't like. How many changes can you make? I know you can audible out of one call, but if the defense shifts again, can you do a third audible? How deep can a play call go?
I mean, it really just depends. I mean, if you're talking about third downs, obviously you can get into that and you can, change things to how you want it, especially if you're getting a certain pressure where you need to change the protection and get the ball out quick and change the routes on the perimeter. You can do that. But really within our system on base downs, first down and second down, there's not a ton of audibles because we're moving so fast at a high tempo.
And is that for a quarterback, when you see something, is that a problem for you sometimes that you're like, I need to get out of this play, or what do you do in that scenario where you're like, I see trouble right here?
Right. Not really in this offense, just because there's so many different options within the play, and the play will make itself right either way. It doesn't matter the coverage that they're running. We have an answer for everything that they can do defensively. So no.
All right. Would you call this offense user-friendly?
For sure. For a quarterback, there's no doubt about it.
What makes it that way?
I'd say it's just like –
because you're describing it, you're like, there's a lot of options. That makes it seems like you got to be thinking at all times. Why would it be user-friendly?
Well, I think it's just what I said. There's a lot of options within each play. Mm-hmm. And then also for the quarterback, you're moving at such a fast pace that it can catch the defense on their heels a lot of the time just because of how fast you're moving. If we're being able to be efficient and convert on third downs and things like that and keep the stakes moving, then it can really keep them on their heels the rest of the game. And that can take a lot of pressure off of the quarterback.
When we talked to you at the end of spring, you talked about, playing in a way that you don't open yourself up for injury as much, trying to be smarter about the hits that you take. But, I've seen you play college football, and I know that, muscle memory is a thing. When the ball is snapped and you're out there and you see an opening, how do you talk yourself into, I need to get out of bounds here instead of I need to fight forward for 2 or 3 more yards?
I think that's been one of the biggest problems that I've had to deal with my whole career, just because I feel like the competitor in me wants to go get the extra yard, the extra 2 yards that I can get. But especially after last year, after getting hurt and missing that many games, like, it made me open my eyes into realizing that those 1 or 2 extra yards on first and second down, they don't mean much. Like, me being on the field means more. And so, I just got to be able to keep that in the back of my head a lot more than what I've had in the past, because in the past, I really never thought about it. I just wanted to compete and play and win. This year, I've definitely taken a different mindset to it.
Is that something that, because in practice, they're not allowed to hit you.
Right.
Is that something you just have to be mindful of at all times?
Yeah, I think for me, just like when I watch film, like, this is a play I need to just get down. Whether it's film or it's just me, like, every day telling myself, like, don't take the hit if you don't need it. And I think I just got to remind myself over time just to keep thinking that way.
So something I've always been intrigued by is the Manning Passing Academy, and you were there a season ago. Are you back this year?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. What is that experience like when you're a college quarterback?
It's amazing. Last year I went, got to meet Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, all the Mannings, Archie Manning. It was amazing just to be able to gain knowledge from guys that have done it at a very high level, and then also be around guys that are doing it at a high level in college and be able to pick their brains and hang out with them. It's pretty fun. It's a good time during the year, especially going into the season, just to be around guys that go through the same thing that you go through.
Are there any quarterbacks around the country that you would say, yeah, that's a friend of mine?
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's the Houston quarterback last year. I know Donovan Smith. I actually know Gio Lopez, the guy that was just at South Alabama that transferred to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Me and him are really close. Sawyer Robertson, obviously, him coming to Baylor, I know of him, and we have a good relationship. I mean, I could go on and on with some guys that I know of and that we've talked before.
I wanted to ask you specifically about Sawyer. When you decided to come to Mississippi State, what did he tell you about being here?
It was so basically during that time when I was trying to figure out where I was going, I wasn't in Waco, so I wasn't talking to him much. But whenever I did commit, he called me and we talked on the phone. He was like, "Man, I loved it, my time being there. It's obviously a lot different than Waco," but he said nothing but great things about Starkville.
When you came out of this spring, you think about a season ago and you think about this spring, how you felt coming out of last year, how you feel coming into this year. Or do you feel noticeably different about the team that you have around you this season?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like I could tell the first week of spring ball how different it felt. The energy level, everything about it. Obviously last year there was energy, but this year I feel like the energy was able to sustain throughout the whole of spring. Whereas last year you could feel it die out at times and things like that. I feel like this year guys wanted to be here every single day, even though we're in week 4 of it, week 5 of it. You could feel the energy from the guys. And obviously we added up some playmakers to fill the holes that we lost, which is pretty amazing. And the type of guys that we were able to bring in are great dudes to be around. They want to work and get better every day. And so it's been really good.
How much of that is, last year everybody was new to what was happening. And this year, you had some familiarity with what Coach Lebby and the coaching staff wanted to do. How much of that was just having a second year at Mississippi State?
Yeah, I could just tell for me personally, I'm a lot more comfortable, especially being in Starkville. This is my second year. I'm used to everything. I'm used to Coach Lebby, used to the offense. I could feel a difference. Even though I did miss most of the season last year, I was able to still take a lot of mental reps last year. And I could tell from the first day of spring ball how much more comfortable I felt with the offense, the scheme, the footwork, everything involved. Like it was just completely different for me.
You have a lot of new faces on this offense, but one guy maybe you weren't expecting to have back was Devon Booth. I asked Coach Lebby about this, and he couldn't help but smile. I want to get what were your thoughts when you heard that Devon Booth was going to get another year of eligibility?
I mean, it was amazing. I was just at home, just working out and hanging out and rehabbing and stuff. And I remember him texting me, and he was like, "I'm gonna be back another year, bro." And I was like, that was the biggest. That was honestly that made my day, just because like Booth is a great player, great dude, but that just adds another element to our offense that just was huge to be able to gain back, especially a guy that did it all last year and did it at a really high level.
When you look at that running back room, just from a person like mine's perspective, who, my job is to try to analyze things and look around the SEC. That's a very deep and talented room. You bring back Booth. Johnny Daniels was really good last year. And then you bring in a guy like Fluff Bothwell. And then I like the young guy in Gayton. That's a really deep room. How good can those guys be for you?
Man, they're going to be tremendous. Like it's like you said it all. It's a great group of guys, and it's a room full of depth. Like we can plug in any of those guys and they can go in and execute at a really high level, and we won't lose a beat. So knowing that we have that running back room and that amount of depth is huge for us going in this year.
So as well as anybody that, Mississippi State fans, they saw what happened defensively last year. It wasn't good. There's no getting around that fact. When you were out seeing those guys in practice this year, how different did they look?
You could tell that, the difference was like they were a lot more comfortable. It's the same thing offensively with guys that's been in the offense. Like you're a lot more comfortable in year 2 in the system and Coach Hutzler's system. And so you can just tell the communication was a lot different. You could hear guys talking on the field, communicating, being in the right places, executing at a high level. You could just tell they were a lot more comfortable than where they were a year ago.
What does being a leader mean to you?
I think for me, it's like I said, relationships. I think it all starts with the relationships. None of these guys will ever listen to a word I have to say if they don't know who I am and they know that I don't care about them. And so I feel like the biggest thing for me, especially last year and then this year, getting a new group of guys this year was building a relationship early on. Because like I said, like you get into deep workouts and things like that, and you have something to say, they're not going to trust what you have to say or even listen to you if they don't trust you. And so relationships is a big deal for that.
What kind of role do the current players play in the recruiting process? You know, these guys come to campus, they visit. I know they sit down and talk with you guys. You host some of them. What is that process like?
See, I didn't last year. I did it a couple times, but it's a big deal. Obviously, I remember when I was coming out, you want to know about everything. You want to know what the coaches are like. You want to know what the facility's like. You want to know what the day to day is like. And so, being able to talk to the players that are going through it every single day is huge. I feel like that was one of the biggest things for me when I was coming out. So it's definitely a big deal.
What was your conversations like with Luke Krummenhoek?
You're saying when he got here?
Yeah, when in the recruiting process, did he want to speak with you?
Yeah, no. Well, he texted me whenever he committed and was like, "I can't wait to work with you. It's going to be fun." And it was a good thing. Me and him exchanged numbers. He's been nothing but great. He's a great dude. He's a great player. And that's good. We need a good quarterback room, good energy, just to be able to keep each other going.
So I know you're a football guy. You know, you're in the facility, like you said, since 6:45 this morning. What's an off day look like for Blake Shapen?
Sunday, I think that's really the only off day I get. Saturday, we usually come up here in the morning and throw. So yeah, Sunday is really our off day, and I might go play a round of golf or go hang out with a couple of buddies on the team, but it's nothing crazy.
What's your handicap?
Don't want to talk about it.
I don't golf at all, man. I've done whatever you said was going to be better than what I would throw up. I promise you that.
Hit or miss. It's hit or miss.
I got you. Got some good golf courses around here, though. Have you had a chance to play at Old Waverly?
I did. I've played up there twice now. So, yeah, that place is awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. Are you a gamer? Do you play NCAA Football 26? The new trailer came out today. Are you on the sticks for that one?
I'm actually not. I've played it a couple of times. I don't really. If I do play games, I'll play Fortnite. That's the only game that I'll play. Yeah.
So I did an interview yesterday with the MSU esports team. They just won a national championship in Rainbow Six. Could you compete with those guys?
No, definitely not.
Just straight up, just no.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did want to ask you, though, if you think about Blake Shapen on the video game, what should your number one stat be?
I'd say arm strength.
Arm strength. Is that something that the guys look at when it comes out? Do you look at the stats and go, wait a minute, I got screwed here?
Yeah, I remember when it came out. I don't even know what my I don't remember. I think it was like a 80, 81 or something. I'm like, I was kind of mad about it, but I was like, it is what it is. I mean, it's cool to be on a video game. So I got to play it and I was really slow. So I was like, golly, they marked me down on the speed, huh?
You got a free copy too, right?
Yeah.
Because you were one of the opt-ins. Yeah. How many, was there anybody on the team last year that was like, I don't want to be a part of that? Do you remember?
No, I don't think so.
Because I remember when the first edition came out, Stonka was not on there. And that was a big deal for people. Like, where is Stonka? He was not on there.
Yeah, I don't think he opted out. They must have screwed something up.
I believe that. Looking ahead to this season, you know as well as anybody what it means for Mississippi State fans to be able to turn this program around and get back to winning. What's your message to Bulldog fans as we go into the season?
I would think kind of leave the things that has happened in the past, and let's just move forward. It's going to be a fun year. We got to take care of business, obviously, and we got to be able to take it 1 week at a time. And there's going to be ups and downs within a season, especially playing the SEC. You're not going to win every single one of them, but we do know the expectation of winning and having a good season. And that's the biggest thing is just stay patient right now. And then we're going to put a good product on the field. It's going to be a fun year.
They just announced the first 3 kickoff times. Are you excited about an 11 a.m. kickoff on August the 30th?
I was very confused by that. I thought it was definitely going to be a night game, but I'll take whatever it is, to be honest with you.
At least you'll be wearing white. It'll be somewhat cooler out there. So looking forward to it. Blake, really appreciate all this time today, man. Have a great season, and I'm sure we'll talk to you. I will see you at Media Days for sure.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Appreciate you for having me.
All right, great stuff with Blake. Really appreciate his time. And like I said, I'll see him again in a couple months at SEC Media Days. I would almost bet my family cat, I bet Baloo, that he'll be at SEC Media Days this year. Hopefully not wearing a powder blue suit this year, though. I should have mentioned that to him. Like, let's not go that route this year.
Maybe a maroon will do.
I'll settle for gray, but just not powder blue.
We're still waiting for Jeff Levy's first maroon. Well, I guess he wore maroon last year didn't he wear maroon at the media days? That might have been the last time you and I have seen him wear an actual.
I got to go back and look. I have to go back and look. I don't remember.
He's black and white guy.
He is very much that. Yeah. So let's see. That would have been what, July of last year? Basically? Yeah. Let me see here. If I can find the picture of me talking with Levy, because we had, we sent out a picture of everybody we talked to. Where is Levy?
Wearing a maroon suit.
I have to go back and look. I don't know. Anyway, all right. That's one interview down. Let's go to the next one. I had real fun with this one, and as you know, on Thunder and Lightning, when we have a national champion at Mississippi State, regardless of the sport or the activity, we want them on the show. Mississippi State esports won a national championship in Rainbow Six, so we had to have them on the show. This is my interview now with two guys, Gage Fullerton, Gage Lockwood, and oh God, dang it, I forgot the kid's name. I just followed him on Twitter though, so it'll be easy to find. Mason Marchanda of the MSU esports team. All right, as you know, we don't have a lot of hard and fast rules here on Thunder and Lightning, but one of them has always been if you win a national championship, we're going to get you onto the podcast. And we are joined now by two members of the MSU esports team. Mason Marchanda, who's the team captain, Gage Fullwood, team member and event director. Guys, I appreciate you coming on. I am an old school video game guy, so I enjoy seeing video games and esports, the amount of relevancy it's getting. So, Mason, sort of take us through the journey of MSU esports. This is a program that has been winning a lot lately, and has become a program that's, I don't know, I don't see the national rankings. I haven't seen the AP poll on esports or anything like that. But where right now in the nation would you rank MSU esports?
Overall, as a club, I think since we have so many different sports, I'd say easily we're ranked pretty highly among colleges. All of our teams tend to be very, very high skill levels, compete in various leagues. Obviously, it's a little different than some of your traditional sports. We play in different leagues and stuff. But I'd say, at least for our team, for Siege, I'd say we can definitely compete at those higher levels. I'd put us in the top 25 team for sure.
All right, so you said Siege. What game is that for our listeners who don't know?
Yeah, so it's a game called Rainbow Six Siege, Tom Clancy. It was actually originally a book. Some people might have even read, but yeah,
I've read that
it's just
book.
a tactical shooting game. It's but
like a 5v5
Right.
squad shooter game. You got people defending like a building, and then you got attackers trying to plant a bomb and take control of the map.
Okay, I've played that game. I played it back on I think on the original Xbox, if I'm correct. So to give you an idea there of how old I am as a person. Is that the game that you guys won the national title in?
Yeah, so they have a newer version of it. I think you're thinking of Rainbow Six Vegas. They used to have all these old story games and stuff like that, like military hardcore shooter.
Right.
Back in 2016, they had to recycle one of those games. 6 months before launch, they turned it into a multiplayer game where you use all those operators from Team Rainbow, and just been.
And that is that kind of the game of choice right now for people your age. Is that the game that people are playing in these competitions more often than not?
The collegiate scene is honestly pretty strong for Rainbow Six. I would say the game of choice right now is probably Valorant, Marvel Rivals, CS2, and Rainbow Six. Those are the top four.
Okay, what is Valorant? I don't know what that game is.
Valorant's a similar game. It's more like if you've ever heard of CSGO. It's it's similar but simpler. They have agents with abilities, but they just take a map and they have to plant the bomb. But it's not as tactical as Siege. It's more gunplay oriented.
Okay. And then the other game that I'm familiar with in terms of I've heard about it, I kind of have an idea of what it is. I know it's big in esports is League of Legends. What is that game?
Mason?
I'll explain that one because I played a good bit. That one's also a 5v5. A lot of games just happen to be that way. But
Hmm.
that one also has people, those aren't agents. They have different people with abilities.
Hmm.
And there's the goal of that game is to take the enemy's nexus. So that's just the thing back in their spawn with a bunch of towers protecting it. And everybody will level up as the game goes on, and you have to purchase different items to make you better. That one takes a lot of brain power. That's a very smart and very hard game.
When I
But
hear
that one's a bit different.
take a Nexus, it makes me think of Battlefront. Is it similar to that?
Um, Kind of not really. It's mainly just the like
Kind
what
of,
they're
but not
talking
really.
about. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like I mean it's a similar idea, but
Okay.
If you can
What?
picture like those old like RuneScape style games, it's kind of like a click
Oh
and
man,
point kind of thing.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Do I really date myself if I say I played a lot of StarCraft back in the day?
yeah.
Okay,
a
just
little
want to be
bit.
sure. I felt like I would. Tell what is the tournament like? How are they set up? Who all are you competing against, and how does that tournament flow?
So for us, we competed in a league called NECC, and how that worked was at the very beginning of our season, they kind of split it. There's two different seasons, so we had a fall and a spring. I joined this team back in the spring semester, and at the beginning of each semester, we have a placement tournament because there will be different kinds of divisions.
Mhm.
And we played in those. We actually won that out, so we ended up getting placed very high, and then you'll have a regular season where we compete against different teams to try and get seedings to qualify for the playoffs. Um, and then once we qualified for the playoffs in the spring, we went pretty far in those, which that gets us points to qualify for the national tournament. And I think we ended up placing third in the first playoffs in the spring.
Mhm.
And then here in the fall, we ended up placing, I think, the same, if I'm not mistaken, which got us enough points to qualify for nationals, which was a whole separate bracket full of a bunch of different teams. And we went all the way in that and ended up winning that.
So obviously, when you're here at Mississippi State, one of the key things in any sport is to be able to beat Ole Miss on a regular basis. I've been told that that has not been a problem for the MSU esports team.
No. I know Gage will be able to talk more about that, but I know we host a tournament for that. So I'll let
Yeah,
him
we
talk.
usually have like an egg bowl every year that alternates between. Normally, we kind of destroy Ole Miss a little bit. I
All
think
right.
even when we had Siege around, we haven't had it recently because I think they just got tired of losing, so they just stopped having a Siege team. Yeah.
Yes. That's good. That's good stuff. So I'm a guy that plays video games when I'm off work, right? That's how I relax. This is something you guys do. I wouldn't call it work, but this is part of your this is what you do. What do you guys play video games to when you're not playing video games? I guess is my question.
Speaking of which, I mean, even last night we had a practice for another team we're kind of doing to get better over the summer.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of since this can be a job, this can be a professional thing. A lot of those
Yeah.
teams will 8 hours a day play the game.
Hmm.
Obviously, we're not that serious,
Hmm.
but during the school year, we like to set up practices. Obviously, you're going to take those a lot more serious than just casually playing a game, but we'll set aside time to scrimmage other teams and try and get runs in. Um,
Do you guys play games that you don't play competitively?
some of us do, some of us don't.
Yeah.
Me and Gage like to play a lot of games together. We like to play different kinds of games.
Uh-huh.
Always some guys on the team that pretty much only play Siege, and they're very good at it,
I
obviously.
can
So
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Me
That's
why.
great.
personally,
Yeah.
I can't like I have to even though like I might have like one or two things I'll do. I can't like compared to like playing sports. You know, I used to play like tennis in high school, stuff like
Hmm.
that. Being on a computer all day is a bit much for me.
Yeah.
After like 2 or 3 hours, I tend to clock out. So I prefer to go out and like work out, hang out with friends, that kind of thing.
I mean, nobody's going to be against you for that. When I'm talking about like relaxing, I like to pop in like Red Dead Redemption and just ride on my horse for like an hour or two.
Yeah.
Just go sightseeing basically before I just
Yeah.
randomly kill somebody out of nowhere. If somebody is if there's a youngster listening in high school and they're into esports and they want to come to Mississippi State and maybe get involved with the team, how do they go about doing that?
I'll let Gage take that one as well.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to get involved with MSU esports, it's not too hard. Normally we'll have like an interest meeting. We're trying to work on some events to reach out to high schools and try and go there and table a little bit, that sort of thing. We have tryouts in the fall and spring every year. You get through those. We're gonna have a tryout week this semester, just events back to back to back. If they're just wanting to get to that skill level, one thing I would say is less is better. Don't think that you just need to sit in your room and play this game all day, every day. Quality over quantity, play some matches, watch some pro league, just work on small things here and there. Know that it's going to take time. You're not going to just be able to suddenly become a pro by playing like 20 matches in one day,
Yeah. Anyway, it's just like any other sport. I mean, you got to practice. You got to know what you're doing. It's not, you can't just show up at the football stadium and be like, yeah, I'm here and I'll play. It's definitely the same thing. Last question. We had Mississippi State debate on last year when they won the national championship. They got me a really cool T-shirt. What are you guys going to bring me? Can I get one of those? I saw one of those, the uniform jerseys. I don't know if I
have one.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, what can I get, guys? What kind of swag can you
get? You one of those? We can get you a keychain, or we're looking at getting some nice compression sleeves. Get a little logo on there.
I will absolutely take a compression sleeve just to have that while I'm on the show. Chef's kiss. Yes, I will absolutely take that. Mason, Gage, I really appreciate y'all's time today. This was a lot of fun. Like I said, I've been playing video games my whole life, which, as you can guess, is a long time. My first system was an Atari 2600. That's how old I am. And really enjoyed this conversation. Congrats to you guys, and continue to dominate the esports landscape here at Mississippi State. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you.
I'll stay.
All right, my apologies to Gage and Mason there. My bad on forgetting the names, but it's not my fault today. There's been so much news today. So this is what we have had today. All right, on top of the regional stuff going on, you have all the Brian O'Connor news. The College Football Hall of Fame announces that they're going to bend the rules, change the rules to make Mike Leach eligible. Great news, in my opinion. Mississippi State's first 3 kickoff times are out. State has picked up I didn't even talk about it, Slovenian basketball player. Slovenia is going up my favorite Eastern European countries. Between this and the Luka trade, Serbia, sorry, Steph, you're dropping.
I've been waiting for a guy from one of those countries, a guy that can kind of stretch the floor. Michael Ignerski was the last one that I could.
Peter Stelmach,
not as good. Salute to Peter Stelmach, but he wasn't Ignerski.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So yeah, we're glad to see that. Didn't he pass away too?
Peter Stelmach or Ignerski?
No, Ignerski still. I think Peter Stelmach passed away.
Did he?
I saw this the other day.
I hope not.
Let me see if I can find it. Maybe it wasn't him. Somebody had a wreck or something.
That team where like Stelmach was like starting or playing major minutes, like Wesley Morgan in the post, Brandon. What was the guy from Tilla? Brandon. God, what was the guy that shot threes? I forget his name. But you had Peter Stelmach, Wesley Morgan. Those are like your post players. That might have been like Jamal Edmondson.
Yeah, I can't find this. I'm almost positive I saw something like this though. So I don't know. I have to go. I'm gonna have to look. If you're still with us, I apologize for trying to write you off there. But somebody I saw it because somebody tweeted about it. And they said something like "and rest in peace," and I was like, "Wait, what?" And I found the article, but now I can't find it. So I don't know. I'm just saying, a lot going on in the world today. Monday show, we'll wrap up this regional. We'll see if Robbie's going to have to travel to a super regional or not. I don't know, but we'll talk about that on Monday's show. We'll talk a lot more about Brian O'Connor as it looks like that deal is almost done for Mississippi State, plus a whole lot more next week. Very busy day. I apologize for the scatterbrainness here at the end, but it is what it is. Robbie, enjoy your time in Tallahassee, and we'll talk to you again very soon. For Robbie Faulk, I'm Brian Hadad. Thanks for listening to Thunder and Lightning here on SuperTalk, Mississippi.